Okay, after a long and most unusual detour, let's try to get back on track here. I hope that now I was able to effectively illustrate to you the way that the white man's trending trajectory towards helplessness, feminization, and submissiveness, and why he would want to put the task of finding a love relationship in the hands of a decision making machine. It's not so much that he consciously makes this choice, it's that he has subconsciously been conditioned to accept this choice. That is the cruel complexity of AI driven social engineering. And make no mistake, we are being socially engineered beautifully, each one of us. That is not to say that the intent behind the social engineering is beautiful. I mean, the design is beautiful, beautifully complex, and at the same time, beautifully efficient. So much so that I can only conclude at this time that the engineering comes from machine. Machines make the decisions now, and man is merely the messenger. Imagine, if you will, a labyrinthian construct of copper pipes. Within this construct now, imagine isolated, pressurized liquid systems, or circuits, if you will. Separating these circuits are electronic diverter valves, which can both introduce, evacuate, or equalize liquid pressure from one circuit to another as needed. These circuits represent the various groups and demographics that exist within the United States. Pressure and temperature are added to each simulation run. The amount of pressure and temperature is based on the ever-changing formulas dictated by data taken from the personality models. Controlling these valves is a binary stream of ones and zeros coming from the processor. The instruction set comes from a conversion module which can take human thoughts and convert them into program language. Human thoughts come from, for lack of a better term, a machine's head. Simply put, a human brain that exists outside the body and survives through electrical currents and whose processing power is augmented chemically. Words from the mouths of engineers provide the machine's head its thoughts. Ideas that form the words for the engineers to tell the machine's head come from classified sources. In addition to running real-life simulations and receiving back a course of action of which to follow, the machine's head is receiving continuous raw data from every personality model on the Facebook platform. The fluctuating data from the personality models is combined with the known established data of the personality models to create a set of comparative baseline values. I don't know if that's the correct terminology to use, but what I'm trying to say is daily routines that never change within the personality model are matched up against behavior that does deviate day to day from the established standard. These deviations are then analyzed by the machine's head, and because intentional or whether it was for another reason altogether, it is amazingly accurate. Let me say that again. And because a human brain is being used instead of computer logic, the ability to ascertain whether or not the unpredictable behavior was intentional or whether it was for another reason altogether is amazingly accurate. Now, let's get back to Facebook's Soul One. Facebook's goal will be to get everyone who uses their virtual environment social media platform on board with the Soul One project. You could be perfectly happy. You could be a virtuous man. You could love your wife and kids. But when Facebook's AI machines get to work and design a social engineering program tailor-made for you, there will be no place to run, no place to hide that Facebook can't find you. All roads lead to Sol One. As long as you exist inside Facebook's virtual playground, you are simply no match for their machines. The program uses your personality model to prey upon your emotions and your weaknesses. And in true AI fashion, your social engineering program is executed flawlessly. To say that the machines would run mental circles around you is a severe understatement. The fact is, you wouldn't even know it hit you. But why does Facebook want everyone on board with Sol One? Well, part of the answer is because Facebook wants to achieve a 0% unpredictability factor. What does that mean? Well, before I answer the question completely, let me tell you a little story. Once upon a time, a question was asked of the machine's head. The question was, how can Facebook achieve a 0% unpredictability factor amongst that of its entire population of the United States? The machine's head came back with many answers. Facebook, however, took a particular interest in two of those answers. First answer was to restrict the world's ability to travel whenever and wherever they wanted. As you are probably aware of, there has always been plans to limit and significantly reduce the world's mobility. A part of that plan involves driverless cars and moving everyone towards rideshare programs. This then allows for your movements to be limited to a local level, and it allows for your movements to be tracked because cash will not be used or allowed in rideshare. Part of that plan involves increasing airline fees, and that can be achieved by the federal government heavily regulating airlines in America, the way they did prior to 1978. Rates would increase to offset the expenses incurred by newly imposed carbon emission standards, all, of course, to help fight global climate change. Now, the mass effect that will result from all of this will be people traveling less and spending more time in their respective communities. In America, that means people will become more predictable than they already are. The second answer was to get people to try to live with each other and try to discourage people from living by themselves, and try to not only live with other people, but also try to establish romantic relationships with the person they are living with. And thus, Sol One was created. The idea behind pushing people to commit themselves to romantic relationships through Sol One is that it was learned that a shared behavior occurs between the couple, and this not only reduces the unpredictability factor in terms of percentages, but it lightens the workload of Facebook's AI machines. Now, to finally answer the question, what is unpredictability factor and why does Facebook want to lower it? In simple terms, the unpredictability factor is a percentage that Facebook's machines have assigned to America's population based on information they received through the personality models, with 0% being most predictable and 100% being least predictable. Facebook found a way to accurately determine how predictable Americans were and have been working hard to get that percentage down to 0%, meaning total predictability. I think at this point, you know where I'm going next. By achieving 0% unpredictability factor, Facebook will have laid the groundwork for the early stages of something known as precognition. Precognition is what happens when virtual reality fully matures and after the users have consumed, digested, and ultimately excreted everything it has to offer. This is probably a good place to end this section because the topic is loaded and deserves its own video, and perhaps maybe one day it will get one.